Hi, it's Ryan from Ryan Fowler Photography, and in this video I'm going to be sharing why and when to use dual SD card slots, which has been quite a controversial topic across the internet for quite some time. So let's get into it. Now, if you've seen some of the controversy across the internet, and it has been going on for a little while now, that you don't need dual SD card slots in your camera. And for me, that depends on what you actually do. So, as a professional photographer, and I shoot with a lot of clients working in the tourism industry, for me, dual SD card slots is just exactly what I need. I don't really want to be buying another camera that doesn't have them in them. And the reason for me is I actually have three preferences for dual SD card slots. The first is redundancy, especially when shooting for clients. Now, you might be thinking, well, redundancy is a bit redundant. Well, no, it's not. SD cards do fail. And if you've ever had an SD card fail, you'll know what I mean, especially if it's a client one. So if you're shooting a single SD card, it may not fail that time or the time after or for 2 or 3 years. But when it does fail and you're on a client shoot, that is when you wish you had a backup or a redundancy. So reason number one for me, shooting redundancy. And I find that absolutely invaluable for working on client jobs. Now, reason number two for me is shooting images to one, video to the other. This is more for personal use though. And redundancy is what I use for my commercial stuff, but for personal, if I'm shooting a video or shooting images and video in what is a hybrid camera in the X-T3, same as the X-T2, I can shoot images to one card and video to another, so I can separate my files without having to go through later on and try and pick out which ones are which inside of the actual computer. So being able to do that and shoot one to one card, video to the other, it certainly does make it easier, and I really like the workflow that that gives. So if I know that I want to import all the video footage, take out one card, put it in the computer, copy the files, I know that I've got all the video there. If I want to copy all the images, import them into Capture One, take the other SD card, put it into the computer, import the images, and I know that I've got all of the photographs. Reason number three for me is extra space. This is really great if I'm just shooting images for personal use, if I'm traveling, whatever it may be. It's so good to just be able to have two SD cards in the camera. When I fill up one card, it automatically starts going straight to the other. And that is a really great way to keep extra space without having to take out SD cards, change them over, or potentially lose them or damage them in that process, meaning you lose images. Now, there are a couple of other ways that you can use dual SD card slots. One of them is shoot RAW to one card and JPEG to another. If you are a RAW and JPEG shooter, this is a great little way to separate your files and give you a bit of leniency in copying across or saving your RAW files for later and just importing JPEGs to do a quick social media share or just play around with a couple of photos, see how they turned out, something along those lines. So that's a really great way to use them. The other way you can do it is video redundancy. Similar to how the images work, if you're shooting on a, say for example, a Sony, a Fuji X-T4 which has just been released, Canon EOS R5 coming out soon, those cameras I'm sure are going to be shooting dual SD card for video. And this is really great for the videographers watching this video because you have that redundancy option as well. You've also got the continuation option on a lot of modern cameras as well. So that really does make for very useful workflow inside of the camera. If you don't want to be using dual card slots for commercial work, that's fine. It's your choice. But for me personally, and for a lot of professional photographers, using dual SD cards is just another part of the workflow. It's an added security to know that we have our images backed up, stored, and safe for a client so that we're not going to use them, especially wedding and portrait and all that type of stuff. Those sorts of photographers are just absolutely prime to be using dual SD cards. And I hope that if you are shooting weddings, that you are finding a way to back up safely of the images for your client so you don't lose it and lose their special day. Anyway, I hope you've enjoyed this video and a little bit of couch talk. If you have enjoyed it, hit that thumbs up button, leave a comment down below. What do you think? Do you actually use dual SD card slots or dual card slots? If you do, what do you like about it? If you don't, how come? What's your thoughts on it? Let me know down below. Subscribe, hit the notification bell button, and I will see you in the next video.